Hey glitter friends! In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create my distressed gold holiday tumbler. So, let's get started. We're going to start with a prepped tumbler. In this case, it is a 16-ounce plump style from the Steel Magnolia Company. For my base vinyl today, I am using a 12 by 12 inch sheet of removable vinyl from the Paper Studio, which I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I particularly like using this brand of vinyl because it's already got pre-measured marks on the back, so you don't really have to give a lot of thought into where you need to cut. For those of you using a vinyl that is not pre-measured, I am cutting at the 6.5 inch mark, which should be just about the right size for the height of this tumbler. To begin wrapping your tumbler, I'm going to start by exposing just a small piece of the vinyl from the backing, trying my best to keep it at a straight line. As you can see here, I'm really going to take my time and pay special attention to where I place my vinyl on the cup so I can be sure that my lines match up just like I want them to. Once you're happy with your vinyl placement, begin to press your vinyl onto your cup slowly and smoothly to avoid any type of air bubbles. I'm going to check my vinyl placement one last time, and then I'm going to slowly and surely start working my vinyl all the way around the cup. In an effort to create smooth edges and a good epoxy seal at the top and bottom of my cup, I'm going to run my cup edging tool around the top and the bottom, taking off about 1/8 of an inch of the vinyl. You're now ready for your first layer of epoxy. I've mixed up a total of 15 milliliters of my epoxy of choice, Mr. NOLA'S Glass Coat Epoxy. As you can see here, there's a little bit of a shimmer to my epoxy, and that's because I've added just a pinch of Mr. NOLA'S Silver Fox Jr. This will give my tumbler just a hint of sparkle without fully overpowering the pattern vinyl. After my epoxy has cured and I've given it a very light sanding, I'm going to tape off the bottom section of my tumbler following the bottom black line pattern of my vinyl. This just happened to work out well for me, so I didn't have to measure, but feel free to tape off how big or little of a section that you would prefer. I'm now going to take a craft foam brush and my Eileen's Tack-it over and over adhesive and apply it to the bottom taped off area of my tumbler. You'll see that I'm going to take my time. Oop, got a little bit too much there. You really don't need too much. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to make sure my tumbler is completely coated and that my lines are as even and straight as possible. You'll know in this case that your adhesive is dry and ready for the next level when it turns from this white color you can see here to a clear base. For our gold accents today, I'm going to be using Mr. NOLA'S Glitter Foil Flakes in gold. I prefer to use foil flakes out of a jar like this just because I think that there is less waste and it's more versatile, but you can also achieve this method today by using gold leafing sheets. I like to start my application at a central point and then gently work my way out, pushing the gold flakes around as I go. I'd like to be able to tell you that there was a less messy way to achieve this look today, but unfortunately there isn't. You're going to have little pieces of foil flakes floating in the air around you, so I highly recommend you not have any cups spinning with wet epoxy while you do this. One pro tip I have learned is to clean up your excess mess after the fact by using a lint roller. Once I feel like I've got a good enough coverage and there's no spots of my adhesive left, I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to start working my way around the cup to burnish the gold leaf down. You want to make sure you're using enough pressure that all of your gold leaf is fully pushed down onto your cup into the adhesive, but not so much that you're going to displace the gold leaf and leave a bare spot. So, gold leaf's a very versatile medium if you just take the time to learn how to work with it. Here I am taking a dry paper towel and I'm going to start wiping around the edges and the bottom of the gold leafing. I've learned that if you do this, it will take a little bit of the bright shine out and give you a more vintage antique look. This is also a really good way to remove any additional residue that could potentially float in your next layer of epoxy and get into parts of your cup that you particularly don't want it to be. Because my decal is 3.5 inches wide, I've gone ahead and taped off about a 4-inch wide section on my tumbler so we can start applying our foil flakes to this area. Once again, I'm just going to apply it in the same method as I did earlier with a foam brush and Eileen's Tack-it over and over. Once your adhesive is dry, you're going to follow the exact same steps we did earlier in order to coat your tumbler with foil flakes, burnish them down, and then antique it. I'm now going to use 91% alcohol and a paper towel to sort of rub away and make some worn spots where my decal is going to go. I tried not to be very heavy-handed because we are going to repeat this step again once our decal is placed. So I've cut my transfer tape as close to my decal as possible just to make sure it's not pulling off any additional gold leafing. Today I am using the Handy Ink font with a 0.05 offset that I created in Cricut Design Space. Once your decal is fully placed, you're going to grab your paper towel and your rubbing alcohol and start distressing the rest of your gold leafing. I like to start with the edge and use a medium to heavy pressure because I definitely don't want you to tell that I used tape as a template here. Because I knew I had planned to use rubbing alcohol on and around my decal, I did use permanent vinyl for both layers of the vinyl on this decal. I do try to be mindful and careful when working so closely to my decal, but because I used a permanent vinyl, I'm not too worried about any specific type of lifting caused by the rubbing alcohol. Once I was satisfied with the way the distressing laid around my decal, I moved right on to the bottom and started working on distressing the lower edge. You can see that I was a lot more gentler and deliberate while using my alcohol here because I did not want to risk exposing the stainless steel underneath since I did not base coat my tumbler. Once I was satisfied with the overall look and coverage on my tumbler, I got a clean paper towel and used rubbing alcohol once again to go over and clean any rogue pieces of gold leafing that might have attached itself to my cup during the creation process. Once it's all clean, it will be ready to take to my spray booth where I will use a couple coats of Krylon triple thick clear spray to seal in all of my work. Once my sealant is dry, I will apply 2 more 15 milliliter each coats of epoxy to finish up my tumbler. And there you have it. That concludes our tutorial for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to like and follow our YouTube page to keep up to date with each of our weekly tutorial drops. See you next time. Bye!